The Krell invasion fleet had conquered 47 worlds before they reached Earth. On each planet, they deployed their war beasts first. The Ravagers, as they were known across the galaxy, were 3-meter-tall creatures bred for one purpose: to break the spirit of any resistance before the actual army arrived. Commander Zethic watched from his command ship as the drop pods fell toward the blue planet below. Inside each pod, a Ravager waited, its 4 eyes gleaming with hunger, its armored hide scarred from countless battles. These beasts had torn through the elite warriors of the Thorian Empire. They had crushed the mechanical defenders of the Silicon Collective. Nothing in the known galaxy could stand against them in single combat. The first pods landed in a rural area that the Krell scouts had identified as lightly populated. Perfect for the initial terror campaign, the Ravagers would hunt, kill, and leave evidence of their power. Then the humans would surrender, just like all the others. Ravager Prime emerged from its pod, shaking off the landing dust. It stood in a clearing surrounded by strange vegetation. The air smelled different here, filled with scents it had never encountered. But prey was prey. It lifted its massive head and roared, a sound that had made warriors across the galaxy flee in panic. In the distance, Ravager Prime detected movement, something small. It began to stalk forward, its hunting instincts taking over. Through the trees, it saw a structure, what the humans called a farmhouse, and there, in the yard, a tiny human child played alone. The child could not have been more than 4 solar cycles old. She was examining something in the dirt, completely unaware of the death that approached. Ravager Prime felt satisfaction, an easy first kill. The fear scent would spread quickly from here. But as the war beast prepared to charge, something else moved. From beneath the farmhouse porch, a black and white creature emerged. It was small, barely reaching the child's waist. The Ravager's combat implants identified it: Mellivora capensis, honey badger. Assessment: non-threatening. Mass: approximately 7 kilograms. No natural weapons of significance. Ravager Prime dismissed it and focused on the child. It took 1 step forward. The honey badger positioned itself between the war beast and the human child. It made a sound, something between a growl and a hiss. The Ravager's translator couldn't process it, but the meaning was clear enough. The tiny creature was challenging it. Ravager Prime almost felt amusement. It had fought armored war machines. This small, furry thing would die in seconds. It took another step, expecting the creature to flee. The honey badger didn't flee. Instead, it charged. What happened next would be analyzed by Krell military strategists for years to come. The honey badger moved with a speed that shocked Ravager Prime. It dodged the war beast's first swipe, then the second. Then it latched onto the Ravager's leg with jaws that seemed far too powerful for its size. Ravager Prime roared in genuine pain. Its armor, designed to withstand plasma fire, somehow didn't fully protect it from those teeth. It tried to shake the creature off, but the honey badger held on, twisting and tearing. When the Ravager finally flung it away, the honey badger rolled, regained its feet, and charged again. The war beast's combat protocols activated fully. This was no longer a simple hunt. This was a fight. Ravager Prime slashed with its claws, weapons that had carved through starship hulls. The honey badger took the hit, but its loose skin absorbed much of the impact. It spun and bit down on the Ravager's other leg. From the command ship, Zethic watched the biometric data in disbelief. Ravager Prime's stress levels were rising. The creature that was supposed to be a terror weapon was being injured by something that weighed less than one of its claws. The fight continued. The honey badger was relentless. Every time Ravager Prime thought it had gained an advantage, the small Earth creature would twist away, or its hide would protect it, or it would simply refuse to acknowledge that it should be dead. The honey badger climbed up the Ravager's body, biting and clawing at its face, targeting its eyes. Ravager Prime stumbled backward. For the first time in its combat existence, it felt something unfamiliar. Uncertainty. This tiny creature should have died instantly, but it kept fighting. It kept coming. No matter what the Ravager did, the honey badger would not stop. Behind them, the human child had started crying, alerted by the noise. The honey badger heard this and became even more aggressive. It seemed to have decided that this giant monster was a threat to its territory, to its human, and that was unacceptable. Ravager Prime made a tactical decision. It began to retreat. The honey badger followed, snapping and growling, making sure the threat moved away from the child. Only when the Ravager had backed up 50 meters did the honey badger stop pursuing. It stood its ground, fur raised, making that terrible growling sound, daring the war beast to try again. Ravager Prime did not try again. It limped back toward its drop pod. Across the landing zone, similar scenes were unfolding. Ravager 7 encountered something the database called a wolverine. Ravager 12 met a cassowary. Ravager 3 faced a territorial hippo that had somehow gotten loose from a nearby sanctuary. Each encounter ended the same way, the legendary war beasts, conquerors of planets, retreating from Earth's wildlife. But it was the honey badger's stand that went viral across the human networks. Someone had security footage. Within hours, every human on Earth had seen it. A 7-kilogram animal facing down an alien war beast to protect a child. Commander Zethick received the reports with growing horror. 17 Ravagers injured, 3 severely wounded, 0 human casualties. And worse, the humans weren't afraid. They were laughing. They were making what their culture called memes. They were showing pride in their planet's creatures. The invasion plan depended on terror, on breaking spirits before the battle began. But how could you terrorize a species whose smallest predators fought like cornered demons? What would their actual soldiers be like? Zethick pulled up the Earth database his scouts had compiled. He read about creatures called geese that attacked anything that came near their territory, about cassowaries that could disembowel with a kick, about swans, hippos, buffaloes, and something absolutely terrifying called a moose. He read about how humans kept some of these creatures as pets or livestock, living alongside them daily. Then he read about Earth's military history, humans fighting each other with primitive weapons for thousands of years, humans who pushed their bodies to incredible limits, humans who had a saying, "Hold my beer and watch this." The honey badger had taught the Krell something important. It wasn't about size or strength. Earth's creatures, including its dominant species, had something else. A stubborn refusal to back down. A protective instinct that overrode survival logic. A determination that ignored all reasonable assessment of odds. Zethick made his decision. The fleet would not proceed with the invasion. On Earth, in the farmhouse yard, the honey badger had returned to its place under the porch. The child's mother had rushed out, gathered her daughter, and fled inside, her heart pounding. She had seen everything. A tiny animal had just saved her child from an alien monster. She looked out the window at the porch. The honey badger was grooming itself, completely calm, as if facing down an alien war beast was just another Tuesday. Later that night, she left a large bowl of food near the porch. It was gone by morning. The Krell fleet departed Earth's orbit within 24 hours. Their official report stated that Earth was defended by a warrior species too dangerous to engage. They weren't entirely wrong, they just hadn't realized that warrior species included everything from the humans themselves down to the small, fearless creatures that lived alongside them. The honey badger never knew it had helped save the world. It just knew that something had threatened its territory, and the small human it had adopted as part of that territory. The response had been automatic and absolute. Humans, watching the footage over and over, understood something their ancestors had always known. They shared their world with creatures that feared nothing, that fought with heart instead of logic, that would stand their ground against impossible odds. The honey badger became a symbol overnight. But those who had lived around these creatures just nodded. They had always known. Honey badgers don't care about odds. They don't care about size. They see a threat, they fight. It was a very Earth thing to do. And the galaxy had just learned that when you threatened a human child, you didn't just face humanity. You faced everything that called Earth home. From the smallest badger to the apex predators to the humans themselves, all carrying that same stubborn, fearless defiance. The Krell never returned. They added Earth to their list of forbidden worlds. In their database next to the entry, they added a warning that would puzzle xenobiologists for generations. Beware the small ones. They are the most dangerous.